What's up, everybody? Patrick LaRouche here from Evolve Restorative Therapy. You can find me at livepainfreeprocess.com. I'm a restorative therapist that helps people that need to live an active life eliminate pain for the long term, all through self-care. We're going to be doing our weekly tip today, and our weekly tip is all about what is a trigger point, or what is trigger point work. It's going to be, this is a subject that I've recently learned that a lot of people just don't understand and don't realize. So I'm going to break it down slightly, a little bit more detail so you can understand. In order to do that, I'm going to show you a muscle. We're going to cut a muscle in half, right? We all know muscle tissue has, a fascial layer, which is everything in the white, and there's a muscle bundle. Within every muscle bundle, there's a muscle fiber, right? The fiber has little fibrils in it. So I want you now to realize that this is a chamber device. So your muscle goes in and out as it contracts. It needs to be able to slide. That's issue number one. Sometimes the fascial layer doesn't allow the muscle tissue to slide. That is fascial work. Trigger point work is now when the muscle tissue within that, inside itself, can't contract. It either gets stuck in a locked position. So there's a little bump here that's the nucleus of the muscle, but I'm gonna make this bump for this demonstration purpose a trigger point. So now, as this starts to slide, inside of that, there's a whole nother contractile unit that now gets stuck and it bunches up. That, in essence, is a trigger point. No one knows why it happens, but I'm gonna give you a very easy definition. A trigger point is a muscle tissue that is no longer functioning properly. That's it. Who cares about the exact why, because this happened, that happened, and just realize that it's bunching up and it's not doing this properly. So we have to get it to move, we have to get it to learn how to contract, we have to get it to communicate with, all of this to get a muscle tissue to work. But for trigger point essence, you need to understand that this one spot could do damage to many different areas. Now, damage meaning the functionality of the whole muscle tissue. So if this is not working properly, the body's gonna start compensating, because it's not gonna be strong enough to do its job, and ask all these other areas to do more work than it has to. And it's a cascade approach from there on. So once you start to compensate, your body starts changing the workload of all the other muscles, now making them work harder, which now makes them fatigue faster. So now, understanding what's the direction, the bigger picture of a trigger point, now let's talk about more in detail what the trigger point does. So when this starts to add more compensation patterns, we have to start realizing we have to get the core of this whole problem that we have to start giving up. So we have to start doing trigger point work. So now we have to start touching this area with either a trigger point ball or any kind of trigger point device, your hand, a doorknob, a stick. There's many different devices out there that you can use to do trigger point work. What you want to do is think about hitting a trigger point, and you'll know you hit a trigger point because majority of the time it refers to a completely different area of the body. So it's going to say, oh, this is your bicep per se. This point in the bicep might refer pain in the top part of your shoulder or closer to your elbow. It's never going to be exactly where it is a true potential trigger point, but there's many different referral points for trigger points to go to, nor does it have to give you a referral point. So that's the little confusing part. If you read a book, they say, oh, trigger points are going to refer pain. In my head, if you hit a spot in the muscle that refers pain, classic sign of a trigger point. But any locking mechanism of the muscle is a bound malfunctioning muscle. Consider it as a trigger point as well. Does that make sense? Like, make it really easy for your brain and your body to start talking. Let's not complicate things by saying this could be just a knot, or it could be a trigger point. Like, one's worse than another. It doesn't work like that. Just clump them all together. Have your body say, all right, we just need it to open. So whether it be a trigger point or a knot, it's just gonna open. The clearer you are, the better things are gonna move. So, how do you deal with the trigger point work? Trigger point now is the next question. You deal with the trigger point work by pushing and holding, which then will refer different places or just give you a localized discomfort sensation, optimal word discomfort sensation. Or you can now milk the trigger point, which means you want to get it to learn how to move again. move in the proper direction that it's working in. Does that, like, you have to see it. You have to understand which way the muscle fiber moves and then work it through that whole action. That's where you want to start getting more of the movement based. So now you're going to start encouraging it to start stripping and learning how to contract in and out, rather than just locking hard and staying that way. You want it to start going through. So you're going to hit this bump and then roll across it in the pattern of the muscle tissue. That's how you deal with the trigger point. It's either you're going to point and hold using whatever trigger point device you want. You're going to point and hold, breathe, get it to learn how to relax, get it to learn how to just lose this locking sensation. That's going to be key, learning how to let it relax while you're holding it, so then it just disperses rather than protects. Or you're going to milk it through its natural range of motion. And that's how you clear up a trigger point. If this helped, folks, pass it along. Help other people go through. Keep on sending me ideas for you guys to learn from. And I love you guys for it. If you're not part of the group, please sign up. I'm always giving out different education things as well as different self-help tools. So, folks, see you on the next one. Bye.